Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. Alongside myself is Proper Cast. My name is McCornmeal. We've got Illini Orange and Penn State going up in losers round 4 in the final match here of day 1 of our Invitational. Proper, what are we looking to kind of forecast here as Illini Orange has been waiting a little bit of time and Penn State's coming fresh off of...
I mean, Penn State, again, coming off of that win, they, not necessarily in as commanding fashion as you would assume, but what they look great in, look no further than their respawns. Quite convincing as far as what they were looking for from hill to hill and even back on that control as well. What most importantly you could take away from Penn State on their win of the day of what we saw on broadcast versus St. Clair and just now versus ASU Maroon is that each kill absolutely means something for Penn State. It means more map terrain. It means more map pressure. And when they're denying that map terrain away from their AR lineup, especially from its Johnson, then allows Taze and Ken to play their role of SMG so wonderful.
Yep. First and foremost, we'll go ahead and take a look at the Illini Orange roster here. Versa, Exy, Shields, and oh dang Ghostly. Yeah, no, this roster is incredible, Proper. There's not much more we can say about it. A lot of returning players, not only this year inside of Season 3, but from the previous season of Modern Warfare for the side of Illini, not just on the Orange roster, but overall. And we talk about it all the time. Illini, they have one of the best talent pools that you can pull from between both of their starting rosters on Orange and Blue.
Yeah, Illini Blue had a great run throughout the entirety of the season for CCL, and for Illini Orange to also showcase their strengths and abilities throughout all of the games today as well, without one name playoff or I guess invitational crit. We got Shields coming in, baby. I mean, this team starting to look pretty darn deadly. Exy and Ghostly is that duo. They're going to be able to command a lot of forefront pressure for this Illini Orange squad.
Taking a look at Penn State's roster, we just saw him in action here on the stream, but we'll go over it one more time. Ken, Johnson, Tased, and Shades after an incredible map 4 performance to put them into losers round at number 4. Take a look at Shades and keep your eye on him through map number 1 because in Hardpoint, he was a shimmering beam of light for the side of Penn State, and he looks to do that here once again on Raid Hardpoint, which just so happened to be map number 1 in the last series too.
Yeah, I mean, what? Shades dropped like 41 bomb going back to that Garrison Hardpoint 251-74 win over ASU Maroon. I mean that's those are some pretty impressive numbers. And again, they are going to be right there along with Johnson, Hayes, and Ken. And again, what's most important about this team is their flexibility and ability to play together. I mean, all the way back since the Modern Warfare year, regardless of how unfortunate their season ended for CCL in the Cold War game, it's still impressive to be able to see how much time all of Penn State put aside just to grind the game. I mean, on top of just being, college students for one, but also just being, born and bred competitors as well. Yeah. It's just something that you love to see as a core 4.
Well, we'll be able to see that shimmer in map number 1, but relatively, if you take a look at the top of the screen, you're going to see the map set very similar to what we saw last series for the side of Penn State. Map number 1, a raid. Map number 2, not a Moscow S&D, but a raid search and destroy, so that's different. But then we look at Checkmate Control and Garrison Hardpoint, both of those 2 maps remaining the same overall. So Proper, looking at this, those are the 3 maps that they won all together in that last series. Illini Orange, sure, they're a great respawn team, don't get me wrong, but if Penn State takes map number 1, proves their dominance in respawn, maybe Illini Orange comes out and wins the Moscow Search and Destroy, but even if Penn State's able to win map number 2, you're going into map number 3, being able to 3-0 this side of ASU Maroon in that last matchup. So, that being said, Penn State, Ooga Booga, they're coming for that crown.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at the entire day for Illini Orange. I mean, for Raid Hardpoint, starting off, they did lose to California State University Long Beach. It was 250 to 227 in a very hotly contested Raid Hardpoint. It came down to a lot of rotations, a lot of key gunfights that Illini Orange just could not close out towards the tail end of that Hardpoint itself. For Penn State, on the other hand, like you were just talking about, coming off of that 14-point win versus ASU Maroon, it was kind of the exact same, but on the opposite side. They were able to at least win a handful of more gunfights to always have that threshold, to have that lead over their opponents. And it came through the same thing that we were singing their praises from on that Garrison Hardpoint too. And it has to be a consistency for them as well. Those breaks were absolutely insane. And I'm not too sure what Holiday would even be closest to it at this point, but they're being gifted as far as when the enemy team is trying to force their way to fight for a couple of scrap seconds. And they're always going to find themselves on the upper hand of that, spawning closer towards those money hills, mostly looking at 3 and 2. Their P4 for Raid Hardpoint definitely needs some work. Again, that's coming through from the very small sample pool that they just could not break ASU Maroon on that Hardpoint. They gave up somewhere near 115 seconds. But if the Illini Orange can keep up with the pace, have no qualms in assuming that they'll be able to do so, and we'll have ourselves a very fun first map here.
Takeaways, break map 4 quick early and be able to hold on to it. Also, another takeaway, point number 3 is your mainstay, where you're able to rack up a lot of time, but off to a good start here. They've won at least the majority of their gunfights initially, but Illini Orange holding for middle map should be able to get these last few kills, getting towards the point, but it is going to be Penn State who holds on for the first couple of seconds.
And again, you can see Illini Orange spawning off on the ever so wanted side for T2. Penn State, they took the opportunity to just go for ring control immediately. You have two different choices to either go for the middle of the map or just go for ring. And Penn State, they're getting themselves a decent amount of time off of P1. Nice challenge from Johnson inside of Laundry. That's a 3-0 start for them as the spawn's a flip.
Going back towards middle map, that's where Illini Orange are going to focus their progress, at least for the time being, but it is going to be player number 6 in Versa who gets around over towards Cutout. Now you got player number 7 and 8 also spawning there. So across the map now, Penn State have an opportunity for a push. You've got to be able to set it up, though, with Johnson getting that first kill in the back. Now make it 2. Shields will be there for the trade. They're still going to get those close spawns behind point number 2. However, through the front, Penn State's there, and they've won the opening gunfights.
And you can keep trapped. You can keep Illini Orange trapped in here as well. Nonetheless, they can have a miraculous break. Player number 7 is going to be Shields. They make that play actually happen through money, and Ghosty is just holding one in the back line as well. It's just Johnson that's left alive on this pillar. He's just trying to finesse their life for as long as possible, but that's a lot of contested time for Penn State and Illini Orange, where Illini Orange started off on the favorite side of the map, and Penn State are not done just throwing bodies at this hill.
Surprised that player number 4 has already gotten way back across the map. Went through bedroom in towards back around garage, and although you want to start that rotation over towards the next hard point, the big thing here is, once again, if Illini Orange get a couple of kills while they're trying to rotate over towards the next portion of the map, they could actually spawn this out of Penn State behind them towards P2. So I guess in a sense it is a good play from the side of Penn State to really wrap and solidify the spawns all the way back over towards the garage, because that's where you've been able to get the most of your money and the most of your time throughout the course of your hard points on this map. But as we push back through middle map, it's going to be player number 5 in Exy and Ghosty making the tandem duo push forward. We'll see who wins the kills initially.
Player number 4, Shades just might be able to blow this up with a very unique pinch. All that is happening, the gunfight inside the hill, it's actually still going up in Penn State's favor. They'll spawn close towards red. This is where Shades has been anchoring out everything. Taze will be challenged, will lose their life. 2 players now for Illini Orange inside of red.
7 and 8 through the gym. Can you make the play happen? Play number 3, you're going to be all looking for Johnson. He'll fall instantaneously, and now you've got Ken having to kind of rotate back over through the laundry side, or excuse me, the vent side to get back in towards the hard point. You got one more player pushing through the front door. Shades will make that quick work. 5 in a row, 2 more for Streaks. This is where they got broken every single hard point and every single rotation proper. You've got to break into basketball, and it starts with maybe getting these streaks.
3 players going to be going all the way in the backside of jungle. Shields is playing inside of the shrubbery. Semtex will at least give some information, but how do you do this bait to try to help out Shades? Their Shield's going to find the first, retrains the aim to take down Shades, so no streaks whatsoever. The initial hit back on side of jungle falls up flat. It's just Taze inside of jungle. They will be cut down. Illini Orange look to set themselves up in P4. Penn State take the respawns inside of kitchen.
And now that I think about it, maybe getting those streaks wasn't the best thing for Penn State in the first place. But I think we do actually have some streaks coming through, and it will be in towards that point. Nothing going to be found just yet. Nothing at all, actually. So, once again, it's streaks that don't benefit the side of Penn State on a break over towards basketball, but now they've got the pinch set up. 1 player over towards the right. They've got to take out Versa. Ken tries to find the shot. Won't be able to find the kill. Shades traded out swiftly after the fact. Now if they want to break into these last 15 seconds, sure, go ahead and do it, but you've got to make sure you're holding down point number 5, because when you didn't have control initially on the early rotations, it was hard for you to break it every single time.
That's a good break for Scrap, too. Illini Orange, they're threatening to make this about a 10-point game. Penn State, they are keeping Illini Orange on their heels. Now, they're going to be set up towards the middle of the map, but they're a little bit more spaced out. Player number 5 is going to be Exy. They're going to be that player that's going to be looking over player number 8 inside of the hill. Shades is going to open up with the first kill, and then finds a second on it first. The open staircase has been cleared out, and Ken wins a big gunfight up front. Big break coming through from Penn State. It was just a nice coordinated pinch.
Shields gets stuck on the top. That is some of the worst timing I have seen in Call of Duty history. Sprints up the staircases and instantaneously met, not just with a Semtex, but one right to the forehead. As Ken turns around to get some shots on the Versa, it's going to be 2 for him. Shields will find 1. Shade should be traded, and there it is. Ghosty gets in towards the point, so 25 seconds of potential time here. And since Penn State's spawning on the north side of the map, they've got to make a trek all the way back down to the ring, which is at the very bottom of the map. They're not going to opt to go around right through P5 because it's going to cause a wonky spawn. They're going to push through either jungle and go around through the garage, but it's a push that's really, really risky. It's either going to work out great or it's going to completely fall apart, and thus far it's looking like a fall apart.
Like, it just might be that way. Going in towards the second set of hills, Illini Orange, I mean, this is a dead even game. Say what you will about the 5-6 seconds or so, but I mean, that's just scrap time that has been going back and forth between these two teams. Now Illini Orange set up in Ring. They have a strong setup, and this is where P1, you can get a lot of time from Ring, and you got players pushed up on back laundry, but they don't read the hit fully coming out from Red. They deal with it quite well. Ghosty finding 2 on the back end. They were on 5 straight. 15 and 8 is where they will fall. It's going to be another attempt for Penn State. Break through the ring and middle of the map.
Odan Ghosty, a household name here inside of the CCL and Collegiate Call of Duty across the board. That AR presence that he's able to bring every single map cannot be understated by any measures, but as Shields tries to find a couple players crossing through middle map, Illini Orange not only has taken their first lead of the game, but they have themselves about a 40-point lead on the side of Penn State. And it all started with that basketball court hold, the rotation in towards middle map when Penn State pushed for the scrap, and then, of course, holding down point number 1 on the second set of rotations.
Comes down towards this kitchen hill, trying to keep Illini Orange trapped, but it's Johnson has slipped the net. Johnson's in the back, nice trigger discipline, waits for the easier gunfight, wins it out, but Versa's inside the cutout wall. We'll find that trade. Taze breaks the nose of Versa. Now the presence is going to be here for Penn State. Where do they spawn? North to south for Illini Orange on the east side of the map. It's just about holding you here for Penn State.
Where's the push going to come from? You get one player taken down over towards the water side. Shields will fall as well, so now it's going to have to come through the front, and that player from the front gets killed, but player number 5, Nexi from the back. Can you find one more? Well, simply the answer is no. Johnson will hold on in towards the middle map point, and Ghosty will fly through the front of the hard point to at least keep this out of Illini in contestation opportunity. Taze will find that last kill, but this is something we haven't had to see from Penn State yet in all of the raid hard points that they've played. The ability to break over towards point number 3, and, well, at least they have a little bit of help here with Ghosty spawning out towards the back, but it's not going to mean much, especially when you got player number 2 still in the kitchen.
It's not an opportunity you're going to be able to recognize. Nobody was in a spot to be able to read that cross from Ghosty, who will now join their teammates. Actually finds Johnson as well, so this big trade now coming through from Ken. Taze also finds Ghosty, so now where do you spawn for Illini Orange? Do you end up spawning in? No. Player number 8 is going to spawn out towards P2. For Penn State, the attempt to try to break is good, but the headies on the back car are that much better until Johnson comes in to break things up. It's just not sufficient enough. It's just not convincing for Illini Orange to be shrugged away from this hill quite yet.
Well, you know where Ken is. You make the play around over towards the back move, and but you get absolutely poop stomped, and well, now the rest of the team pushes in as well. Ken, along with the help of his teammates, really just held that one down. That's 30 seconds of really nice, good hill time, because that's going to put you over the 200-point mark proper. It's going to put you around, I'd say, 215 on the rotation. But here it is again. The enemy that has plagued them throughout all of Raid, the basketball court hold. They've got 3 players hitting through laundry. You gotta look towards the tree, because that's where player number 5 next is.
Yeah, how do you 1v1 a tree? Actually says, well, you really don't. I have the best cover in the game. Nice opening shot. Semtex, oh, just narrowly stays alive. Flak Jacket, thank you very much. Knows that there's a hit coming through the pool side. Has a hit through jungle, fell up flat. Illini Orange, again, the strength he set up for Penn State. Falling up flat, just trying to get themselves a presence of mind. It's got to be through kitchen. They're just not winning the gunfights. There's so many angles to cover. Ghosty finds themselves 2 more now on 3 straight.
Ghosty, what can you do, baby? What can you show the world? What can you show the stream? And right now, it's Shields taking over the show. We'll find 2, and then there's Exy with the Semtex to find the 3rd, and still proving to be the absolute Achilles heel of Penn State. Is that basketball hardpoint. You're going to try and rotate the point number 5. You barely held it down the last time. Illini Orange will take the lead here, and that's 15 big seconds of time. That's going to go the way of Orange.
Oh, nice chow there from Taze. 14 and 23. Not a sexy stat line, but this is where Raid can continuously be ever so scrappy, is inside of this P5 hill. And say now they're going to be able to read the setup. Shades from this little flank will blow up, or should I say a counter flank. They're going to know that Illini Orange are spawning in for P2.
This is mirror to what we saw in game number 1. Penn State had to come back at the end of the game. They won by 14 points. It'd be 15 this time if they held down on to all of the time. Taze with some shots there into the kitchen. Last one alive in towards the middle map. It's going to be Ken. Can you find the kills? You cannot. 239, 239. Here comes the break from Penn State. They've got to fly through Zig. 8 seconds left for Illini Orange. Taze over the top. Shots on the Ghosty won't fall. Ghosty, Versa combined for 2. Nobody here for the side of Penn State. This time, it's Illini Orange who come out on top. 11-point victory in map number 1 to send them up 1-0 in the series.
What a great setup off of that P5 break. Immediately, they just shut down every single bit of position. You had a player in open staircase, a player with an AR on the backside of P5 closer to kitchen, and the SMG closer towards bamboo. But most importantly, you had the player that was on the staircase over by the BS&D. And what's most important about that player is, again, you're shutting down the potential push that's going to come through from dividers out of red. That's probably your last glimpse of hope. There's no way from the respawns for P3 that you're going to make that push all the way from bedroom and get there to contest the time. It's either going to come through Zig, like you talked about, that flying. Well, it came up ever so short. And then again, from red, good absolutely no shot as Illini Orange. They take the lead here. It was only by 11 seconds. And Penn State, they were able to keep it pretty darn close and held the lead there for a solid, I want to say, the first, if not the first set and a half of hard points. But again, it comes down to that play. Man, get that break.
We're going to give the Penn State a little bit of time to figure out how to break the basketball court. When we come back, Moscow Search and Destroy will be the next game on our docket. Illini Orange up 1-0 in this best of 5 series. I'm McCormill. That's Proper Cast. We'll be back in just a second. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. I'm McCormill. By my side, Proper Casts. Moscow S&D between Illini Orange in the side of Penn State. After a barn burner of a map number 1 proper, and hopefully enough time for Penn State to figure out how to break the hill, we get ready for an S&D on Moscow that, it might face the same fate if they can't get back onto a bomb site or if they lose it early on.
Yeah, I mean, take the same woes of not being able to break P4, just solo channeling down spiral staircase and through poolside, and you could potentially be looking at the same mishaps that could be plaguing them going in towards a break when it comes for a post-plan setup, because, I mean, there's some of the same nuances could be taken for a setup for a hard point as you could for a post-plan setup for Search and Destroy. Obviously, I know the 2 game modes are entirely different. One has respawns, one does not. When it comes down to the focus fire and just holding down towards a site like B on Moscow Search and Destroy for Illini Orange, who are pretty well versed on this map through the regular season, 4-1 overall for them. It's not a bad look overall when you are going away from the focus fire that we saw there at the end. From P4 into 5 for that raid hardpoint win. But on the other side, Penn State University, Search and Destroy for them. They just came off of a 6-5 loss to ASU Maroon on raid, which, say what you will, it does play a little similar to Moscow comparatively to the other maps in the pool. Just kind of judging about how unique the middle of the map does access both the bomb sites. What they were doing so well is just trying to be creative, trying to work those first bloods. What plagued them the most, that AR lineup of Viciity finding those first bloods. Can't let that happen.
Oh, both Shades will find 2 right off the rip. Versa and actually both fall. So Shields and Ghosty, the last 2 alive. The Shields tries to find the kill on the Shades. Be able to spot him out from behind. Oh, you gotta finish the kill, baby. Come on now.
Accent. Ghosty left alive in a 1v3.
It's a cornmeal.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that part of the country that systems.
Got my own little sector in Florida.
Yeah. Currently waiting for my visa so that I can travel, see if I want to move in. You have to get immediately challenged from Square, and Penn State will close out the first round. We didn't see it. We hopped in a little bit late, but I'm sure we'll see it from Shade's perspective. They are that AR player over by the boulevard. Again, I talked about how well-versed they were 8-2. Penn State through the regular season on this map. And when you have an AR like Shades that is making solo plays over towards the globe like that on defense, well, it makes things easier. Now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And Proper, I just want you to know that the hot tub offer still on the table from earlier today. But
stay in the DMs, bro. Come on.
It's an open invitation. Ghosty, though, one of those players that you got to look out for in S&D, specifically on Moscow, he was a player I kind of wanted to highlight before we hopped into it. He can be a difference maker and really a map deal breaker for a lot of teams. And middle map, he'll be trying to run away and escape with his life. Shots from Shades will cut him down early on. So another first blood to the side of Penn State, a 4 versus 3, and they've got the B site under their control.
I'm going to take the opportunity to lay this bomb. Yeah, Taze is going to clear out through the back boulevard. We'll go ahead and drop this rock here. 2v3 for the retake. And this is what I was talking about here between Eggsy and Shields. What can you try to do for this break in the setup? Well, not really much of anything. Those are some pristine shots. I'm talking like crab poutine pristine shots. Like, that was fresh. You still got 2 more players you got to cut through with 25 seconds remaining.
Shields, what can you do here, partner? In through the side door, you got two players playing in towards the window. One's going to be looking around the back. That's going to be Taze. You got two inside the room, and you probably didn't expect that, but with the guns blazing and the rounds ticking by ever so slightly, Penn State, they've got their second round here in the S&D, and it all thanks to that initial pick and middle map, which opened up the complete entirety of the B site to the side of Penn State.
I can't believe Shade stays alive here. And then re-challenges for the headshot. So I'll find my own trade. Thank you. I'll see you next round. Yeah. I mean, quite literally. Fighting Illini. You want to see fighting, I'll bring it to you. 2 rounds for Penn State, again, coming off of those opening engagements, and the same could be said about Control here for Search and Destroy. 4v4, much different than 5v5. You find that first blood. That is a numbers advantage that you will definitely feel. But here comes Illini. 3 players deep towards A.
Through the S-keys, they've got no presence for middle map on the defensive side, so it's free to push up, but you got to worry about those 2 players having the pre-aimed angles. Taze laying down by the A site, Johnson inside of maps looking for a kill, but it's a team kill that comes through. Fortunately enough, it's not really a big one, as the player was already weak, but it still makes it at least a 3 versus 3. XT trying to push up, 50 seconds remain.
Yeah, and that's just so unfortunate. Shades cannot leave that position. Taze will get gunned down in the back, just trying to go catch their train. It's all up to Shades. And their spot over here by Pillars will be spotted on out. So now Shades has to do this in a post plant. He has a Krig left to play. He's going to go check the middle of the map. They're not here at all, brother. Let's go ahead and make a long play happen.
Well, you know where the players are. Fortunately, for the set of Illini Orange, though, Shades is across the map trying to play B. Just unfortunate timing all around. Shields looks. Ghosty over towards the dock is going to play a small, slight challenge here. Doesn't actually see Shades come through, but Shades knows he needs to check right immediately, but also check left. The optic corner. Not going to fail him this time, though. He's able to clean up the round, win, and Illini get on the board.
And this was such a big hit. I cannot stress enough how hard it is to be able to break this defensive setup. There's the forced team kill from Ghosty on Versa. Again, it comes through that first player that's over by the brick dip to be able to find that first kill and walk away with their life, given that they didn't find that first kill cleanly, or hopefully holding down the trigger, able to find the second. But it's that 3-1 setup. Again, when you're looking at from the lone player of Shades, they're going to be that player over by the cutout wall. They can't leave that position. They have to watch for the entire rotation. All Penn State, they get gunned off of their 3-player setup over towards A, and Illini Orange, they get themselves around. Comes Penn State for another offense, though, playing this a lot more passive than their previous few.
Yeah.
Where Shades is positioned over by Library. See if they can catch any players on the rotation out. The game, cat and mouse for unforced errors. It's going to push first.
Yeah, just a passive. Nice round here. Allows us to recollect ourselves. Both the teams can maybe get a sip of water here, rehydrate themselves. And I was just kind of thinking, too, you know, when I said the optic corner thing, I didn't even realize I had said it until it came out of my mouth. It's crazy how one play can revolutionize a call-out on an entire map.
That's so... The corner from Dashy back on Seaside.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Now here comes the push in. I mean, the offense. You definitely gotta make the move first as the offensive team, but you can't clear out all the corners. Big 1 for 1.
Same page. Ghosty over the top looking for the shots. Tased around the corner. Can Versa find something for middle map? No, Johnson's there. So a 3 versus 2. Penn State advantage. Ghosty, the equalization. Bomb's going to go down. Add an extra 45 seconds to the clock. Illini Orange, you've got to be able to make the retake happen. Tased 1 versus 2. Tased finds them both. Ghosty falls, and a chance that a chance for Illini Orange to tie the game up falls completely on their face, even though it was a 2 versus 1.
A's the bomb carrier. Drops the rock, finds the timing to reach out Exy for the trade. Ghosty's like, yeah, I got him. Exy's like, I didn't get a single bullet into him. And Taze with the 74U just wins the gunfight. But, I mean, that got hairy. There were still a lot of Semtexes and flashes, mostly on Penn State's side for that offense. But when you're making that push over towards A, you throw 1 flash, they got a trophy system over there. We can't clear with a Semtex, so they don't have the immediate information. So your entry player has to throw their life towards that brick dip. You lose it, but it's again the swarm for Penn State with about 30 seconds remaining that win them that offense. What a flurry to change for a defense. It got 2 players in the Metro this time around. Offense bomb being carried by Shields. Too far away from player number 8 of it's Johnson.
Oh, look at Tased. Tased is going to have the angle there on the Exy, or at least I thought he did. Turns around and completely misses the cross. So Illini Orange are inside of B, and they had no clue, and are going to be forced to wrap back over towards B when there's not even presence close to the site.
Well, they have no idea, right? Again, that timing ended up coming through. So if you're looking at that from Shade's perspective, where you saw Ghosty just jump up, well, they got Boulevard pressure, but now the retake has to be here.
I love the play from Versa because they don't know he's over at A, can make the pinch play flank happen. And just as much as they didn't know they crossed over to B, well, here comes the flanking Versa. Shots through middle, Map gets the last one down. 1 versus 3 from Shades. Oh, please don't do it to us. Oh, please, dear. Oh, no, please. Proper. 1 versus 1. 10 seconds left. If you're playing number 2, if you're Shield, you're just under the bus. You can just check the bomb. You can lay down, or you can fly in from behind and get the kill. But my heart might have skipped a beat there, Proper. Just putting that out there. I'm a big man with a small heart.
And a deep passion for search and destroy.
Small heart in the way of it gets overly compacted very, very quickly. A lot of things can't run through my mind at the same time. You know, that's just... We're just going to skip past that. How about that?
It's a great round overall from Illini. I mean, you get gifted a lot of good timing there to be able to work your way inside the B site. Just completely slip the net of Shades in that perspective. Probably is not going to be playing that same angle in the next defense, but opportunity to strike here for the Fighting Illini just has to be a strong defense. This was pretty successful for Penn State. Last go of things. 3 players not here defensively this time around. It is a 1-2-1 split for Illini.
Actually, he's going to get spotted immediately. Ken over on the side will be able to kill him on the concrete dip. Now as he hops up just a little bit, it's going to be Ghosty all the way on that back right. You're going to have to not kill just 1, but you're going to have to kill 2 and 3 that are pushing towards you. 2 versus 4. Penn State's aggressive push pays off in flying colors. They're going to be able to get the bomb down as well. And for Illini Orange, when you're retaking this, you're so spread out, the trades are going to be virtually impossible.
Shields with the 74U up through escalators. You also got player number 3. That's going to be Versa over by P2 as well. So it's going to be a bit of a pinch, but it's a little bit uncoordinated as well. Currently, now Shields in a 1v3. They'll go for the challenge, and it'll fall flat. Penn State, with a very aggressive offense, will get themselves back in a 2-round lead. But again, when you're looking at the setup for Illini Orange, it was Xe that was that lone defender over here. And Ken smokes him with the Krig 6, just narrowly walks away with their life. The trade would have been there regardless. But if you're going for that 1-2-1 split, if you're a lone player, the one probably shouldn't be an SMG. Probably want an AR over here at some capacity, whether you're running 3 ARs like what we just saw from Penn State, or at least just having an AR presence of mind on that back pillar to be able to read that, because it has to be your retake at that point in time, and not just shut it down 1v odd situation, not with trophy systems in play, unless you find the most godlike Semtex of your young collegiate career. Illini Orange, though, they hate Penn State. That looked like a lot of fun. We'll go ahead and push over towards A.
Penn State last time, they were having to come back from a large deficit early on in the game. Illini Orange now having to do the exact same thing. Can Penn State have the composure, though, to go ahead and close it out? And well, with a kill from Ken to get the first blood on the board. Should be a yes. Taste finds Xe. Shields a middle map, gets a kill. Or it's still a 3 versus 2. The bomb down in Eskies. Penn State can just play a very nice, slow, methodical game. But Ghosty's going to be in the great position. Taste won't chow, 2v2.
Bomb dropped an escalator as well. That's just going to be so tough to try to take this, but Ghosty and Shields are going to double up on together. Ken going to be able to read this. Yeah, they're definitely going to know something's up now.
Largest round of the S&D right here. It all comes down to a 2 versus 2, but they're going to hear the bomb get picked up. Taze, here's the sound cue around the corner. Here comes Shields. Another one's going to fly on through. Ghosty is there, picks up the bomb. The shot punch can't find it. Somehow both the Penn State players stay alive. 5-2, match point. Trying to tie the series up 1 apiece.
2 SMGs looking over the shoulders. Taze goes prone right in the nick of time. That looks so awkward from Ken.
Double whiff!
Oh, man. Like
it's iconic.
Like the equivalent of cartoon characters trying to throw their first punch ever shown on screen, and they just miss wildly. So a big round for Penn State. Themselves up on map point. This offensive push will now move its way to the middle of the map. This 4-player push has just been so effective for them. Player number 3 at Versa, they gotta stop this.
No, Versa actually wants no part and will just back up to the rest of their teammates, realizes there's multiple players in the middle map, but oh my goodness, Shades! Okay, Well, you know what? You can make that kill work any time of the day that you'd like. And well, with Ken coming around the corner and picking up number 2, that should be streaks for Ken. I believe it is. So you've got the artillery looking for a cruise missile as well. But in a 2 versus 4, or maybe just use the streak right here because you're not going to need it unless Ghosty pulls off one of the greatest clutches ever. They don't know where he is, but around the corner, he's surely should fall here to Ken, and he will. Penn State, 6-2, S&D. It's theirs to a 1-1 game.
Ken gets the cruise missile there at the end just for funsies. And, you know, it's just one of those things, too, like, for Penn State, this is something that we really noted on them coming through the Modern Warfare season, and the handful of times that we got to see them in such a high capacity throughout the Cold War year for their search and destroy. This was also a big praise for them back when we were still playing domination. They're crafty. They're very creative. Again, Moscow, through all the months that we've been playing Cold War now, Alex, we've been able to see a little bit more play through the middle of the map, some of that creativity being able to be showcased. And where you think that dedicated push is going straight through the middle of the map, they find that first blood, a very tough first blood. No, we saw players already rotating back towards square. We're rotating back towards A. It is that heads-up decision-making as well as the adjustments being made from round to round for Penn State that just makes them such a definitive force. What a great search.
I will say this, too. You mentioned before the S&D started that Illini Orange, they were a proficient team when it came to Moscow Search and Destroy. Their counterpart in Illini Blue, they were a great S&D team all year long, namely being the only team to take a map off the side of Ottawa Black throughout the entire year, coming on a Moscow Search and Destroy. So with that being said, you would at least like to see maybe Illini Blue and Illini Orange scrimming against one another, especially with something like this coming up to where they're able to kind of get their S&D on par with where it needs to be. Specifically on Moscow, where Illini Blue are great. So maybe they did practice it a little bit, and maybe Penn State just came out with a different game plan that Illini Orange just could not simply counter throughout the entirety of it. There were a lot of gunfights that unfortunately, Illini Orange did end up losing to Penn State that they maybe should have won in some instances, namely the double whiff. But even then, that's a 1 versus 2 scenario that you're most likely not going to win anyways. But as we get ready for a checkmate control here proper, Penn State beforehand to ASU Maroon. It was a 3-0 victory for them. They won 2 offenses and a defense. You'd love to see that same kind of, I guess, systematic play come back into effect.
Yeah, and checkmate control, I mean, this is something that's pretty well-versed for both these teams. I mean, for Illini Orange, I mean, they didn't really play it all too much of the regular season, but they looked great on the checkmate control. If you go back to their win versus CSULB Black at the beginning of the day in match number 2, they won that 3-0. But they're not the only ones to be able to get a notable win on checkmate control of the day, where Penn State, not too long ago, were able to 3-0 ASU Maroon. And within both of those game modes, again, when you're looking at for any player to really take a lot of control, it was none other than Shields, as well as Eggsy, to make a lot of big plays for Illini Orange to command and dictate the pace of that checkmate control. And the same could be said on the opposite side. Though on for this thing, for Penn State, you don't really know the weapon that Ken's going to bring to the table. It could end up being a 74U off the rip inside of that plane to join with their likes of their duo, if you will, on the day of Taze, who's sitting at a 2.19 overall KD through the regular season. But for me, it's Shades. And with Shades and Johnson, that AR lineup for Penn State is feeling themselves, and they're dropping bombs like we just saw. It's a hard team to shut down, man. They're feeling themselves. What do you do?
You don't do anything against a team that's feeling themselves proper. I can tell you that with utter confidence. When a team has got a head full of steam and charging towards you, it's like a bowl. You maybe throw a little red flag up in the air and then twirl it up like that and then jump away from it. Or I don't know. It's checkmate control. That's that's all it comes down to, really. So no, Illini Orange, you won the first respawn, albeit close. Penn State, good on checkmate control. And as I said beforehand, this was a big thing that I kind of hit it on at the very beginning of the series. Raid hardpoint, checkmate control, Garrison hardpoint is where this side of Penn State were able to win all 3 of their games in that first series that we just saw against ASU Maroon. You're going back to the same maps where you're well-versed on. You win the S&D comparatively to the hardpoint, but both of these teams, at least seemingly right now, comparable and basically narrow-edged when it comes to the respawn game mode in general.
Yeah, it's a really scary spot, too, if you're considering this from a Illini Orange perspective, because you're absolutely right. I mean, Garrison Hardpoint, we're guaranteed to see that map number 4 regardless of what happens here on the Garrison control. But now you got to look at it on both different sides, right? I mean, if Penn State are able to walk away with a checkmate control and they're going to one of their more well-versed and comfortable hardpoint maps, even on the day, beating 2 very notable teams on that map mode combo, regardless of score or side, they were looking impressive on that map mode. Not a good spot to be in if you are Illini Orange,
Sure.
regardless of walking away with raid hardpoint map number 1. You would love to have that little bit of a breathing room going in towards that garrison hardpoint to know that the raid search and destroy is right around the corner. A little bit of a weaker search and destroy map for this Penn State roster. If you were watching the matches earlier today, you have any other VOD or just talking amongst themselves to be able to try to get that map number 5. But that could just be the win condition for Illini Orange, is not only just potentially to walk away with this map number 1, but at all points and intents and purposes, they do not want to be down 2-1 going into that garrison hardpoint versus a dominant Penn State roster on that map mode right now.
Hey, you saw what they were able to do earlier on, as Robert just said, and it was not good. I'll tell you that much for the side of ASU Maroon. They were sent home 250 to 175 was the final score of that map. But as I stated beforehand, checkmate control, 3-0 win for the side of Penn State, as I believe we're loading into the map right now. We're going to be able to see who necessarily can come away with a round 1 win. Will it be an offensive win for one of these two teams? Will the defense prevail, as we have sort of come to live by on checkmate? But really looking at the CDL recently, it's been a lot of offensive wins proper. And if you can kind of translate that into the play here inside of the collegiate level, that opens so many doors, including the emergency exits, of course.
Yeah, checkmate control, man. It comes down to none other short of that first breakoff. On offense first, it will be Penn State. Not convincingly winning that gunfight, given where player number 5, Versa, pushed all the way up by that yellow cargo container. 26 v 29. Penn State have only found a single kill.
Looking over towards the left. B zone. Slow pushes for the side of Penn State on the offensive side early on. But Illini Orange, they won instead of gunfights. They won that first 4-up, 4-down scenario. Now they're back in the spawn, namely with Versa being able to flank these two players going over towards A. Shade will be the first to fall. Ken over there as well. Won't even need to be Versa who takes care of it. It's Ghosty from afar in top lane. They've got control not only of middle map, but as I said beforehand, they're in their spawn, which is the biggest thing.
And it is more than just a big thing. It is a thing that now we just got to win a gunfight out of our spawn before we could even make our way past the 25-yard line. Are you kidding me? Ken's going to be that first player to try to do so, but that yellow cargo container might as well be made of paper mache. Not going to get out of there so cleanly. 15 seconds remaining in Penn State. They found themselves an opening potentially to stop the clock.
Got to take down Ghosty. It's the first chance. There it is. Ghosty will fall, but XC and Shields will combine for 2. Johnson will fall. You got Shades in towards the point. Probably highlighted this player needs to be one of those, I guess, cornerstones of Penn State if they want to be able to win this game. He was a big reason that they won that Garrison Hardpoint map number 4 last series. Well, he's going to piece up 2 right there, go on 4 in a row. Spots one coming around the corner. Diamante shot's almost able to be there, but Shields will find the kill. Prohibit that second tick from coming through, and with 5 seconds left, the contest is on the point.
No way to get some help so that way you can potentially be playing for Shrieks, but here come the reinforcements. It's a 2-for-1. Penn State just trying to stabilize, but Verso says absolutely not. He will not get to the zone in time, but consolation prize, remember, at the end of it all, it is tick progression that'll get you that round number 5. At least Penn State were able to squeak by with a single tick.
It's the little things that matter, proper.
It is. It really is.
Defensive round win right off the rip, though. Continues to kind of fall in line with, again, what we would expect from a checkmate control. Illini Orange, they won the first respawn. Not really wavering in that department whatsoever either. The S&D is somewhere where they have tended to crumble a bit beforehand, but it's been lights out all year long in the respawn category. Versa going ahead and pushing up over towards this left side first. They're going to try and get control of the left side of the map, not even top lane. They're just going to try and have their ARs play a bit back in a more passive way to get those lines of sights of people that are going to be trying to fly out either towards the left or the right wing and get a little aggressive over towards B or A.
They're focused towards B zone, and you got to drop down here eventually, and Penn State will try to do that. XC for a big trade. Will find and secure that second tick before Illini Orange get wiped off the B zone. In that, for the time being, because Illini Orange, they don't have to immediately focus towards the B zone. They can actually shift their focus towards A, but be careful here, because we've been seeing a lot of teams fall flat. Illini Orange off the respawn are just battling for that B zone again. They walk away, does Ghosty with 2 kills.
Ghosty calls out Ken's dead up top lane, so Shields knows that he can push forward just a little bit up and towards the top to get a little bit more progress inside of that said plane. We look at play number 5, Versa, making his way over towards the A zone. They've got 2 big ticks on B. You can come back to that a little bit later on. Now is your time to work that A zone in your favor, because not only do you have a lot of contest over there, it's a lot easier to hold than it is B.
No, it absolutely is, and well, it's It's also a lot harder to recontest once Illini Orange are starting to establish themselves. Shades unchecked through the middle of the map that they're going to have 2 players actually work their way behind them as well. You just got to get yourself established inside some of those contested corners, and Illini Orange are going to be able to do just that. It's a 2-player stack for the time being over towards that A zone, but most importantly, Illini Orange, they're pushing forward, just keeping Penn State trapped on the south side. They have to chalk the A zone.
Sneaky Shields in the back, looking for a few kills off of the spawn up, but on 5 in a row will fall, so there goes the hopes and dreams of streaks. But on the flip side, you've got another tick going through at A, so that'll be an extra minute on the clock with 2 ticks at B. Proper, if it wasn't already on the side of Illini Orange's favor in terms of just having to get 1 wave kill to get B, well, it's an even more dire position for the side of Penn State, because if you lose this, you go down 0-2 inside of the control, and you lose an offense. Or, excuse me, a defense.
A lot of time to be playing with. It's a 5-life lead for Illini Orange, and well, they're trying to bait out a couple of kills. Would have been a big 2-piece there for Penn, but 2 kills. Now the 3rd, actually, for Illini Orange. It's just a single tick of progress that they need. Here come the players. 2 players deep. They will stack. Shades has got to get on. Just narrowly contest. The Diamante throws some bullets into a few players, but can't contest it for too much longer. Illini Orange not only will secure all ticks of progress, they will go up 2-0 in this control. And like we're talking about there, McCormill, that is not a good spot to be in for Penn State at all. I don't care if you just 3-0'd ASU Maroon on this map. Illini Orange are just making a fair play for all of the game. They are just commanding off the first break and also just dictating the pace furthermore. Again, they got themselves on that A zone. And you would think that the stack would have came through, but what do? They just push it all the way through. They keep Penn State spawning over by Wood, or by Tetris as well. Penn State, they do what is not so advised of them, and they just still try to battle in towards that A zone. Don't hold their lives. And there's just so much map pressure that they just gifted for Illini.
Well, it's not raid, but on control here, let's hope Illini Orange don't have the syndrome of Los Angeles Guerrillas Academy, where they go up 2-0 and then somehow miraculously find themselves in round 5. Usually they'll clutch it, but at times it can be a little bit testy. Xe in top lane, Versa finds the kill. Taze is going to be able to find him there, but realistically speaking, once again, Proper, it's just another scenario where Illini Orange wins those opening engagements, can push into the spawn of the side of Penn State, and just win the game from the inside out.
Yeah, now you're in a tough spot if you are Taze, right? You got plane control. You're hoping to at least find a cross angle to help out your teammates, but Ghosty also has said cross angle. Well, now Chow out from P2 finds himself another kill. Now 4 straight. 5 down lane will be cut down. 13-7 is where that streak will stop. But still, it comes through that opening breakoff, absolutely, and again, convincingly throughout the entirety of all these gunfights. A pinstripe kill feed, only 1 player showing there for Penn State, is not effective enough to get yourself over towards one of these zones. Taze trying their best. They're facing all of Illini Orange, it would seem. 20v23 with 22 seconds remaining. I
mean, Ghosty backs off there, allows his teammates to start pushing up the map, but at the same time, Ken's able to find a big 2. Falls immediately to Xe and Versa. 18 seconds left remaining, Proper. And really, it just seems like it's all going to kind of crumble in front of the side of Penn State. Every single kill that has come through has been traded out instantaneously. You've been pieced multiple times off of a plethora of points and a plethora of pushes. And although you're over towards A, you're still down by 3 lives. And even if the side of Illini Orange just get 1 more pick off of this point, the control of the round is over.
Well, hold your horses. First take of progress will come through over at A. Presence past P2 is there for Penn State, but no one's there to really check Ghosty. They will go ahead and try to challenge themselves on the A zone itself, and here comes the collapse.
Ghosty there. Ken finds 1, but there's the trade. Play number 3, you gotta go fast. Johnson, you gotta get to the point. And, oh my goodness, gets Xe out of the plane. But really, it's just a kind of a class for show thing at the end of the map that they lose pretty sorely, unfortunately. 3-0 victory for the side of Illini Orange. Yet another respawn where we see them succeed. And I hate to kind of put this out there, but this is the reverse of what we saw of Penn State last time. They didn't win the S&D, but they won all of their respawns. Illini Orange looking to do the same. It just feels so similar. A 14-point hardpoint that Penn State won. Now, an 11-point hardpoint that Illini Orange beat them on the same map. Same thing with the control. Penn State win at 3-0. Illini Orange, hey, we're going to come in 3-0, yeah. And then the Garrison hardpoint, it remains to be seen, but I'm scared for them.
I think what's most impressive walking away from this, too, is, again, going for the overall narrative that earlier in the day, Illini Orange were able to beat California State University Long Beach, which, again, is not an easy team to beat in a respawn. 3-0 on that map mode combo. ASU Maroon just got 3-0'd by none other than Penn State on this map mode combo. So a little bit of a battle back and forth, like a Godzilla versus Kong kind of type deal. Who's the better part of the 3-0s? Well, Illini Orange, they'll stand tall. And again, they're going to push the envelope that much further, right? Is that now they're going into the Garrison Hardpoint with a leg up on this series. It is 2-1 in the favor for Illini Orange. And going into a favorite pick for Penn State, you got to think that the vibes are pretty good for the Illini Orange squad.
At least you hope so. 3-0 control, a 2-1 series lead. Penn State backs against the wall. A loss on Garrison would knock them out of contention here for the Invitational, but that'll lead us into a quick break. Folks, when we come back, Garrison Hardpoint here instead of the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational, presented by the Army ROTC. I'm a Cornmeal, alongside myself as Propercast. We'll be back for potentially the last game in the series. Welcome back, folks. Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by the Army ROTC. We saw the checkmate control, which was a 3-0 for the side of Illini Orange. And that was followed, of course, after a Moscow search and destroy where Penn State was able to take that 6-2. So it was a 1-1 series, now up 2-1 for the side of Illini Orange. And going to a Garrison Hardpoint where you would think Penn State have a comfortable pick here. Proper, that face is giving me a little bit of bad vibes for the side of Penn State.
Look, man, I know I've been sitting here singing the praises that this is going to be a comfort pick all day long, just so that way I can just set it up to knock it down. Because you remember going back to Illini Orange versus California State University Long Beach. Now, they lost map number 4. I don't remember the scoreline of it, but Illini Orange whooped California State University Long Beach on that Garrison Hardpoint. And I mean whooped as far as the rotations, the entries, the breaks. I mean, it was nasty. It was gross. But Penn State, again, do you think that this has to be a comfort pick for them, not only from all of the regular season, plus playoffs of what we got to see them play on this map mode combo, but even on the day as well, being able to take down teams like St. Clair Saints and ASU Maroon? I mean, the one versus St. Clair Saints was closer, obviously, but that win over ASU Maroon, I mean, we saw Shades go off, teeing off on every single certain direction. They dropped 40 kills. They're going to need some more of that because it was not necessarily there during the checkmate control. Just wipe the sweat brow clean. That way you can go into this hard point clear head of mind, knowing that you got to send it to that 5th and final map.
No, I think the big thing for Shades in that Garrison Hardpoint last series was not only did Fishity struggle, but Sig also struggled too in the AR department. So when you have those AR players that are struggling, it allows your AR player not only to pick off those SMG players that necessarily can't get those kills at longer ranges against a Krig, but also you're dismantling every sliver and ounce of AR pressure that the side of ASU Maroon had. So with that being said, Illini Orange, you've got a very strong AR duo, namely with Ghosty. If Ghosty wavers just a little bit here inside of this game, sure, maybe Shades has an opportunity to do that once again, but it's going to be difficult. Illini Orange not only have looked great throughout the entirety of the respawns, but you mentioned it earlier, they're just a good team on this map.
Potential to close it out in 4 maps here for Illini Orange. Almost the same reprise that they had there for the matchup versus California State University Long Beach. I have to see what they can do here. Starting off with the favorite side, I guess you could say it would be Penn State. They will be the first team in top green. That will be Shades. Going to hold that position, quickly trade it on out as Illini Orange stabilize on P1.
Look to the top of your mini-map. White arrows surrounding point number 2. The satellite's going to be in firm possession of the side of Penn State for now, and those initial gunfights towards the front of the hill in towards Square are going to belong to Penn State as well. So it's about 10 seconds ticked off the clock here. Penn State looking to go ahead and maybe hold from the side of Illini Orange to the front, but you've got to be wary of the players that are pushing straight through Square because player number 7 really doesn't have an angle for any of these players unless Versa directly challenges out the back.
Versa will be cut down inside of Cobble, so an opportunity to stabilize on P2 is going to be there. But Ghosty's still lurking, by the way, over by Bricks. They will be trying to at least contest this for the time being as reinforcements are working their way through top green. Middle of the map presence is there for Illini Orange as well, threatening the rotation and the break. Minorly successful. The biggest nuisance here for Penn State is they don't get away with the amount of time that they were hoping on P2.
Ghosty, just a nuisance on the map. It's going to get you mad a lot of the times when you're playing against him because he makes those plays that not everybody thinks to do and can make them happen because of the gun skill that he possesses and can stay alive in situations where you just would say he's absolutely dead to his rights. However, through the front, here comes Taze. So either A, you push through tools or you push through dark, but a player middle map in Taze and Johnson will both fall down. If you're Illini Orange, you've got the back. You can just push up a little bit towards the middle of the map of the point and you're just holding everybody from Penn State at the 50-point mark on the map. They haven't even gotten able to contest the hill, let alone touch into tools.
Oh, it's just not gonna come anytime soon. Shields finds Sue, challenges for third on the Taze, who was weak. That'll be a pretty sufficient hold. And yep, thank you. There's number 4 as well. Can I get a 5? Thank you very much, Shades. I'll see you next hill. Number 5 in a row for Shields. Potential to bait for them to play for streaks later on. But what a great P3 coming out for Illini Orange, just winning that rotation off of 2. And they already have players that spawned out from the hit from Penn State, so they're not looking too bad. They just got to worry about it's Johnson towards the S&D site.
Well, proper Ghosty was on 5, did fall, so now the last opportunity for streaks is in Shields, and he's going to be able to get some shots, but unfortunately not the kills. So all efforts that Illini Orange had put forth to go ahead and find some streaks are going to be all for nothing, and they don't even get hill time to boast for those kills, since those players were kind of playing a little bit more passive and playing their lives, not necessarily directly challenging. Shades, though, has done a great job in tied point number 4. On himself, a 4 streak, looked for number 5. XC is there in the back, spawns over by the hangar, are going to be on the side of Penn State. Illini Orange, they have 30 seconds left to contest this, maybe play for some hill time, but more importantly, get across the map and set it for point number 5.
It's just so tough. You got players for Illini Orange. They're all set up inside top green, but Penn State is still somehow walking away with gunfights you probably should not have any business doing. Shades up on the suspended tank will have a great lay of the land as Ken looks to get aggressive through the middle of the map. They'll be traded all the way out. Penn State, although successful as far as keeping P4 scrappy, really tough to try to get themselves in these power positions. Illini Orange looking for the setup past top green, but no one's necessarily looking through the push through lights. Taze is in a spot to potentially blow this hill open.
Fun little start between both of these two teams, even as we get in towards point number 5. And realistically speaking, proper, if we kind of take the entirety of rotation number 1 into consideration, Penn State for the first time have looked at least somewhat solid at breaking a few of the hard points, which is a pleasant surprise to say the least.
It is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, for both these teams, right, to be able to sit there and talk about their strengths and their weaknesses on the day, to truly be exploited and tested as well. I mean, there's a lot riding on the line. And down here in the loser's bracket, potentially go home through the entire weekend. The other team gets to make it through tomorrow. It's really do or die to be able to showcase what an entire team has to offer for itself. But Illini Orange, while being spawned out for the time being, they stabilize inside of bricks. They're walking away with a pretty decent amount of time off of P5. And for all intents and purposes, Alex, this was a very scrappy first set of hills between these two teams. But Illini Orange, I mean, they're still sitting at pretty with about a 40-point lead.
COD gods, I ask you one time, and this is not playing favoritism, this is me just simply asking for a game 5, something we have yet to see here on stream today, and it would be glorious to end out the broadcast on one final map, one final mode in Search and Destroy, but we've got a long way to get there first, and more importantly, Penn State has to be able to reclaim not only the lead, but take advantage of the entirety of the hardpoint on Garrison. It's very doable, very possible. Hopefully they can make it happen.
This is almost very cut and paste what we were looking at off the opening rip when we hopped into this map late. That Penn State were just jostling for position in the middle of the map and over by P1. Illini Orange on the favorite side. They have top green control, but Versa goes down. So now an opportunity presents itself. Ken slips through the net. They'll get inside of Cobble. They will meet their ultimate demise. Just hoping to find a couple of trades. That's not an easy one to be able to snap through for. It's Johnson, player number 8 of Taze. Work their way inside behind the tack sat. Ken won't be able to keep their lives to Taze. What can you do?
Actually almost dismantled Taze there in the back. Fortunately, the shock factor comes through and he's able to win the one-on-one. Ghosty up towards the top, Shields down below. Ken's able to take down Ghosty, so Penn State will remain in hold, in sole possession of this point. And as XC falls, it's going to be another discombobulated push from the side of Illini Orange. You're spawning across the map. You've got 2 players, at least 1 player, I guess, in number 2 in XC, who spawns across the map trying to make a pinch play back over towards this point. But heavy contention, 2:49 left on the game clock, which is plenty of time to still get to that 250-point mark for either of these two teams. One thing about rotations, we'll taste this on a 5.
Taze needs help here, though. And Taze would love to be able to lock down some streaks. There's number 5. Potential for number 6. And look at all the hard point time and how much it's actually been able to help. So just about a kill and a half away from this artillery strike. The ping would be massive, for at least the break, but would love to potentially have their teammate bait out for them. And they're just flying in towards top toxin. That's not how you play for streaks at all. You need your teammate to do that first, but Versa walks away with 2 free kills. Rotation over inside of generators would have loved to have been there potentially for the streaks or the sub presence. Penn State may be looking at about a 40-point lead, but Illini Orange, they have a pretty good setup.
And when Versa was able to get those 2 kills proper, it was what you talked about beforehand going into the control. Those solo pushes from Penn State that have allowed the opposition to get not only a bunch of hill time off of it, but quite literally keep them dormant throughout a lot of the hard points that we've seen. And that comes back to bite them in the butt at the end of the series, specifically when we get into a very close game like map number 1 was by just an 11-point margin of a victory for Illini Orange. So as you come back here and towards middle map, Shades is going to be able to find 1, Taze is there for 2. But do you really want to break in towards this hill? Do you really want to find the scrap time, or do you want to set up for point number 4? And I think we found our answer.
Yeah, now you just throw your life there, just hoping that you're going to be able to anchor out the spawn, but nobody's going to read that Versa, work their way through the vent as well. So now it's going to be a little bit of a pinch play. This might take some time, and you're okay with this if you're Illini Orange, because where you're placing at is actually going to force Penn State to spawn in for P3. Taze is able to deal with Versa, though. Shield's going to be the next player up to try to deal with this top green play that's happening, but Taze will be able to find the timing. Shields will. It's going to be a free kill. Versa there for the team shots as well to break inside P4. Not fully there for Illini Orange. As they lose that gunfight, Penn State will be spawning closer to the middle of the map.
Trades back and forth. Shields and XC pair for 2. They've got hill control now, but Penn State still have a lead, although very small. It's going to be Taze who drops down. Can Taze find to get another kill? No, Shields is there. It's Johnson. You've got to push across the map. You've got to pair with Shades here to get back over towards the point and make sure Illini Orange cannot contest or get across the map for point number 5. Because if Illini Orange gets into point number 5, their AR set up on top bridge, and you get spawn trapped all the way back over towards tanks, your game is essentially over.
Yeah, it will be essentially over, too. You're just hoping that you're going to be able to convincingly walk away with the gunfight, but Illini Orange says absolutely not. Ken's going to be the only one to find a kill at 17 and 27. That is not what you want from the lights-out performance of what we saw from Ken on this map mode earlier in this day. Now here comes the response from the middle of the map. A pinch play. Taze out from Cobble will just yeet a grenade inside of Lights. They'll claim Shield's life. Penn State are in. They'll reach over 200 points.
Flurry of Semtexes allows us out of Penn State to once again reclaim their home of point number 5. You look over towards the square in Cobble side, and that's where everybody from Illini Orange is pushing from. But Ken with 1. He finds 2, and Taze is there, but Ken finds 3. Reclaims the lead for Penn State. They hold down the hard point. They can't win off of this hard point, but this is what I talked about Illini Orange doing to the side of Penn State. Now Penn State does to the side of Illini. They've got top bridge control and can spawn trap them all the way back in side spawn.
Gotta live up to the name here if you're Illini. You gotta be the fighting Illini and work out from your spawns as well, because where Penn State are currently at on P5, that is not far enough to force Illini Orange to spawn all the way out over by P4. And I think they're starting to realize that. The break through the front gonna be successful. Those extra 8 seconds inside the hill will also put Illini Orange over 200 seconds as well. 231 going on 203. Inside a third set of hills, we will go here, McCorn Mill. And I gotta say, nothing looks even hotly contested as well, because Shades was in top green. They'll get smoked. Illini Orange are soaking up time.
Johnson shots in middle, won't be able to find them. XC looking over towards that left side. The contested point is there. Versa playing in towards Lights. Ken laying down. This one is going to be crazy down to the wire, folks. Illini Orange now setting up a pinch play throughout middle map. The flank was coming through, but the player gets sniffed out and shut down. There go all 3. 15 seconds left. You've got to contest if you're Illini Orange. A lot of time for Penn State to work this hill. You're flying in towards Lights. You've got players looking all over towards middle map. Just 5 seconds left, and here comes the contest. Ghosty falls. Everybody from the side of Illini Orange just trying to scurry back towards the point. Stuns, nades, Shades is there to find 2. Penn State force a map number 5. We'll be seeing the raid, search, and destroy in an all-defiant effort in a clash between these two teams to stay alive.
And this was such a great map. We went breaks for breaks. We went for holds on top of holds. But most importantly, just when teams had to stabilize, that's when we got to see a lot of clinical play coming through from these two teams, and the reason being of why we can sing the praise about their hard points on the day alone, Alex. I mean, how many times are we going to sit there and just talk about how Shields is making a godlike play, Shades was making a lot of good plays, Ghosty was locking things down, finding a lot of good avenues, and then just as soon as I start talking about how Ken wasn't finding themselves a great hard point, uncharacteristic for them, and they're like, all right, hold my apple juice. I'm going to go on a quick little tangent through bricks and over by the Shipman Square, finds himself such an influential 3-piece going in towards that new set of hills. And from there on out, I mean, Penn State, they were just in the driver's seat. For Illini Orange, unfortunately, they had to then look like Penn State breaking inside a P4 of Ray, where they just had a single file push, just try to contest the point. That is no easy feat to try to do. Like you said, Alex, we're going on map 5.
Proper, I got to kind of preface 2 things here about map number 5 specifically for Penn State. Throughout the regular season in the CCL, They never had to go to a map 5 to either win or lose a series. The only loss that came was, of course, to Concord Maroon, where they lost in map number 3. Here inside of the rest of those, 17 games that they played against all their other opponents, never had to go to a map 5 until we got into the playoffs, and then that's when we saw them waver a little bit against the Mac Marauders when we went to an express map number 5, and then they got knocked down to the losers bracket in the first round. So,
my pick'ems,
five scenarios. Penn State might not be the team that you would like to favor, but after that map 2 performance on the Moscow, you'd almost beg to differ, specifically after winning that map number 4 as well, to give them all the confidence in the world that they need.
Well, most importantly, I mean, you just got to look statistically, historically, throughout the entire Cold War season, right? I mean, this is not the Illini team that was godlike at Search and Destroy. This is not the Illini team that took a map off of Ottawa Black through the regular season. No, sirree. This is Illini Orange. The regular season, they are 9-3. Their Search and Destroy is their weakest game mode. Continuously will showcase just that, but they were able to at least show a lot of bright spots, not in that Moscow Search and Destroy, but throughout the entirety of the day. I mean, you bring yourself back to that 6-1 win on Miami Search and Destroy. I mean, the ARs were just beaming, and they were also just showcasing clinical, almost surgical play for working these bomb sites. And you can find some of those same nuances on Raid. I know you could probably fit about 3, if not 4.5 raids inside of a Miami Search and Destroy, but if you're able to slow down the game entirely, you're then going to be able to work these unforced errors, find these first bloods, because that is exactly how Penn State lost the Raid Search and Destroy versus Arizona State University Maroon, was by one way efficiency, always finding those first bloods. And then from there on out, they just sat there and waited, played the information, and just slowly strangled Penn State out towards that round 11.
Well, bit of an update real quick, proper. Losers round 4 match, Purdue and Cal State University Black. It was the side of Purdue that was able to best CCL Black, and they will be moving on to losers round 5 to face the winner of this best of 5 series, folks. It all comes down to one singular map. Earlier, Penn State barely lost the map number 2, S&D, on Raid specifically in round 11. And nonetheless, it was a comeback from down 0-4 at the very beginning of that game. So if that tells you anything at all, it shows resilience, it shows the composure, and they have what it takes to get it done when it matters the most. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with that round 11 win, but here we go, folks. Map number 5, the playoff lives on the line. Penn State looking to do the impossible.
Oh, and Illini Orange off the rip, straight towards that B site. They find first blood towards the middle of the map, 4v3 off the rip, and Exy, as well as Shield, just might push it that much further through Laundry.
Around from Exy, Ken! Let's play nice here. It's only round number 1. Shade's the last one alive in a 1 versus 3. Illini Orange will find those kills very quickly and take round number 1 by force. This is not what we saw from Illini Orange in map number 2 proper. That was an aggressive push, and maybe they feel very comfortable on a raid map, specifically when their SMG players are allowed to get up and aggressive in the face of Penn State.
Well, they tried it, right? A lot of attempts towards that AS&D site on Moscow just fell incredibly flat from the 3 setup that Penn State currently held, but what plagued Penn State mostly in that 6-5 loss, as far as bomb sites being hit, it was that very fast hit over towards A. Now, they'll try that on their first offense, and they'll find first blood. So, Shades going to throw a Semtex. Taze has to drop the rock, and they'll do so.
It's difficult to win defensive rounds early on, specifically on raid if the team is playing aggressive on offense, due to the lack of trophy systems being able to be used, because no one's earned them yet. But a middle map, Illini Orange looking to go ahead and break back. Post-plant setup for the side of Penn State looks nice, but Ghosty's able to spot out one in the way of a Semtex and gives information to the side of Illini Orange. But with only 25 seconds left, you're now pushing back to the site. Still a 3 versus 3, and you've got 2 players all the way back over towards bedroom.
Most importantly is that Taze is inside a bedroom. Now, I'm pretty sure that they have an SMG, and it's Johnson will go down. Ghosty, 13 seconds, has to chow. Well, they're going to end up finding the kill. Yeah, Taze has a sub. They'll end up finding the first kill. That's the only kill they needed to find. There might still be enough time for Ghosty to be able to find the kill. You got to be able to lock it down. It's going to be close. But I believe that Ghosty got it just in time. 0.4 seconds left in the bank in Illini Orange. What should be a definitive hold for Penn State, finding that first blood, getting the plant. They had the win condition of its Johnson in the bottom side of condo and Taze up in top bedroom, but it shields with the play in the snapper in tow to close it all out.
Ice from an entire team In a retake, that puts you up 2-0. Folks, if you don't understand how big of a difference a 2-0 lead off the rip is compared to, like maybe a 1-1, let me not understate it for you. That is massive.
Oh,
especially with another first blood to go ahead and tack on at the end of it. So 3 versus 4, Penn State on the retake. They're going to get this bomb down over by A. Never mind.
I mean, between Taze and Johnson, we might just be having a battle for who's going to be playing shortstop for Penn State baseball team with some of these tosses, I'll tell you that much. But it will deter Illini Orange for the time being from this plant. Oopsie knows that Johnson is inside of Tiki. And wise enough, Illini Orange, they take the reprieve in the middle of the map.
I love this proper, and I think you do as well. If I could see your face right now, you'd have a great smile on it because they rotate all the way back over towards B. They're going to be able to plant it on the other side. The player from Water Steps pushes up, but it's just not enough. Illini Orange, they flip the switch. Their S&D is back in the forefront of the conversation now. Beforehand, we got into the game. Proper had said this was their worst game mode. Right now, we're not seeing that at all.
I will happily be wrong if we see a 6-0 here from Illini Orange, but most importantly, I think what you have to be noting here versus Penn State is that the way the Illini Orange are playing, it's just fundamental search and destroy, right? They were able to read 2 players fully rotated in a 3v2. Open staircase is fine. We already had a player over there. Let's just go ahead and rotate. Johnson this time around for first blood. Ken for a second. This might just cut the momentum in half, barring any sort of excellency from Ghosty and Laundry.
Going back to what worked instead of the Moscow search and destroy. 4 hitting everything. Johnson, please. Okay. Ghosty is not able to get all of them there, but it's going to be Versa left alive now in a 1 versus 2 scenario. A minute left to work with. They can actually wrap this all the way back around towards A, and Versa's going to beat them here in the back of the kitchen.
Where they go? They're actually on the backside of the wall for Versa. We'll see the exit. There's the first. Shades has the challenge for the trade. So full HP, and Shades will find that kill. Versa not looking in the correct direction. Again, you got a 50-50 shot, right? Do I turn towards Laundry, or are they also exiting towards my spawn? I don't even know. Again, there's Ghosty. A lot of good Semtexes inside this series, I'll tell you what, man. But still, that's a big round win for Penn State. Alex talked about that 2-0 lead. Well, you were staring down the barrel of a potential 4-0 lead for Illini Orange. Penn State showing they can do it too. They're on raid, search, and destroy. The aggressive hit through the mid, find first blood, find the second, and then they just bulldoze their way towards the zone. But here comes Illini Orange, a little bit of a rinse-repeat from that first round.
So whenever you say you can do it too, I just instantaneously got the idea of snaking in my head from the Celium quote of what he said beforehand, and that just completely threw me for a whirl.
S&D rounds, you can win them too.
Taze will go ahead and find first blood here in the round. 4 versus 3, and well, Shields immediately with the trade. Back and forth they go. Penn State still with the advantage. Bomb in the hands of player number 3. Shields looks to bring that up towards B just a bit more, but I love the mid-map pressure that Penn State has.
He's will end up winning that gunfight. Narrowly gets away with their life. 25 HP. Just Shields in a 1v. Got a break. Oh, he's going to be able to win that one on the Taze. Is there going to be a challenge? Johnson, you got to get the trade. Shields is at 5 HP. It's going to be that last player through the middle of the map, but I gotta tell you, I thought that Johnson was about to bite the bullet there, and not in a good way, man. I don't even know if there's a good way to bite a bullet, but whoa, that got scary there at the end. But nice 2 rounds for Penn State, that they can not only just win an aggressive offense, but they can hold sturdy on the defense as well. And the difference is what ends up happening when Taze or Ken don't get blooded off the rip in the middle of the map.
Illini Orange need to be counteractive here. They need to adjust to what Penn State has been doing. Unfortunately enough, they're going to send 2 players towards middle map, and this could be able to at least keep the push over towards A dormant for a bit of time, but as Versa finds the first kill and is traded, now the side of Illini Orange, they've got the information on where Penn State will be pushing. Another great play, Semtex, before the trophy goes down, will weaken up the player that's trying to plant the bomb.
3v2 now. No players inside of the bedroom as well. I mean, Penn State, they just catch Illini Orange with the pants down, just trying to go for challenges, looking for exit engagements, and they have an opportunity for a flank. Johnson will play the exit of Kitchen. Ghosty will chow, doesn't check the corner. Free kill.
Johnson almost is on the giving end rather than the reciprocation of what we saw last round. But in a 1 versus 2, Shields has to come down. Taze is just going to be looking through Tiki, playing his life oh so cheeky. And that'll do it. 7.5 seconds left on the clock now. No time for the defuse to come through either. Can just play their lives all the way back towards the back of the map. Shades continues to be on the force spree, which is the most important thing to keep in the back of the mind here, as Penn State will tie the thing up at 3-3. Proper, we've got a game on our hands.
They'll tie the thing up, and they did the thing. Illini Orange, they started off with 3 rounds in a row, and Penn State said, yeah, that's fine. We'll do the same exact thing. 2 offensive rounds and a defensive round for these 2 teams. And, you know, that opening little flurry, finding that first blood, dropping the bomb very quickly, Semtex and all, trusting the flak jacket. I don't have that big of a trust for a vest to keep me alive via Semtex. Although I know I should, because that's how the game works. But Penn State, again, just bullying their way in. Get that quick plant is working in their favor, but here comes Illini Orange towards that A hit. Penn State want no part of it. They got 3 players here defensively.
They guessed right for the first time in this game. Penn State on the defensive side guesses right, but for all their efforts and all those wild guesses, they get a Semtex right to the face of Shades. Exy finds the first blood. So in the round here, as we start to push on forward, Shields is going to get that trophy system down. The bomb should go down too. 45 seconds will be the time crunch for Penn State, and as Versa finds a kill there, and Taze is able to at least equalize for the time being. That would have been a perfect play, Semtex, had the trophy system not been there.
Player in towels, player now swimming here with Versa over towards Tiki. Now Taze will see that all happening. Will now flash check inside of Tiki. Now find the information. Nice little slide child to take out Exy over by towels. Now the biggest problem is he got Ghosty up in top bedroom. It's 1v2, 20 seconds. Taze is going to throw a couple of shots. Knows that they got a snap on the Ghosty up top. The Illini Orange will stop any sort of steam of momentum. Penn State were really starting to build. We'll finally answer back with an offense of their own. And again, it's these A pushes over towards the pool side, McCormill. If you remember, that's what ASU Maroon were able to walk away with time and time again against Penn State. It's like you said, they read it right. Shades gets first blooded via well-placed Semtex. But the players through the middle of the map, they cannot recontest that off the angles from the hot tub like you saw over by towels. It is very tough. Penn State, they found value over this A push last time. They're going to try it again. 4 players deep.
I'm going to be kind of sad right there. Well, I mean, just Ghosty. Go ahead and do it to him once again. But, I mean, Johnson just sprinted through all the glass. That's going to be quite expensive to replace. And so will the lives of the side of the Penn State players that the side of Illini Orange were able to run through. 4 versus 2. Proper, this is an opportunity for Illini Orange to be at 5-3 at match point, but more importantly, series point, and knock Penn State out of the bracket.
Be big. Penn State have been reckoning through a lot of teams that you thought that they would not necessarily been able to do so off of that Mac Marauders loss in winners round 1 of CCL playoffs. But how about this wrap from Johnson and Taze all the way through red? Check the corner. No! Oh, God. That is just a tough angle to try to recontest from. Now Exy is going to chow out. Taze left in a 1v4.
Well, at least he's got the bomb to play with. Unfortunately, he doesn't check the right side, doesn't check the staircase, and will fall, so that was the one good point that he had versus 4, and that was about all that can be said for that offensive try from Penn State. It just came off of Ghosty once again, being that rock and cornerstone for the side of Illini Orange. Taking 2 more rounds in a row, but if history repeats itself, if Illini Orange does lose around here, Penn State could force a round 11 once again. They were at 5-3 the last time. They needed to come back. This time, it's in a Game 5 scenario.
Gonna have to be a defensive round, and well, Illini Orange last time here, they were able to find a handful of first blood, but Penn State just bulldoze over them. Versa for at least a trade, yeah, there's just no way you're getting out of this one cleanly. Like, the game couldn't even keep up with how fast that round just went through. Penn State, I mean, you'll see it from their perspective. I am most certain of it. 4 players defensively deep towards the middle of the map. Say, you know what? 3 players towards A did not work out. Tried to go for a 2-2 split the last time around. Didn't work. What if we just send all 4 players in the middle of the map? Great. We'll go ahead and take that one and make sure that strategy is resurfaced for when it's absolutely right. But now Penn State, they got to win in this offensive round. Set into a round 11. Their A push got snuffed by none other than Ghosty. He's going to be that lone defender. Shade's going to eat a couple of bullets, show presence, but it's not enough for Ghosty to fully understand that this is going to be an A committal. I'll have 2 players over towards B.
Oh, this is scaring me. Johnson, he's playing a great angle to get the player up top, but if Xy's able to push up even just a little bit and sneak the head of Johnson, they can get a double player push onto Johnson and knock him off the map immediately. So it's risk versus reward. Taze playing crouched up over close towards that left side. Taze and Xe are going to have a huge one-on-one, but he's just going to lay down and play passive for the time being. Neither team wants to give each other leeway here. I have a feeling it's going to be Taze and Xe finding these first bloods.
Bum 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 dun 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 dun. Ba-da.
Tate's gonna be able to at least find first blood first or trade. It's gotta be a beat committal. We're down to 23 seconds. We gotta plant this rock sooner rather than later.
Well, you'll waste a minute on the clock playing peekaboo around the corner. You get the first blood, and Johnson's there, able to find the second here in the round. 3 versus 2, but you plant it for the wrong side. You've got to find the trade. Oh, Ghosty almost did it to him, but you got to find the last kill. First is going to be there. First finds the kill. You got to find the trade. Come around the corner. Shade's not able to do it. First wins it. Illini Orange take the series. They'll move on to losers round 5. Penn State out of the bracket. That was one of the fastest yet slowest S&D rounds there has ever been conceived proper.
It took us a solid... Well, that entire round was 1:29 seconds where it came down to that last challenge. And, oh, man, I gotta tell you, I cannot believe that trade, for one, doesn't come through. For one, how close all those players were over by ring on raid. That is just insane. But I gotta tell you, man, Illini Orange, I mean, they came with the heat. Off rip just to be able to aggressively push towards A, then through the middle of the map, just, again, finding all of those first bloods. Penn State made a lot of good mid-map adjustments, but it was those even more potent adjustments, I guess would be the best way I could say for Illini Orange. What was working best for Penn State was that A push. Okay, so now we have Ghosty being a little bit more creative. Now it's not just Tiki. Now it's not just back basketball. Playing that rock heady, playing on the backside of the cutout wall, trying to shut down these pushes that are coming through from the open staircase and bedroom from Penn State. Don't let them get too comfortable and set up, because when Penn State have to make a very dire rotation through the middle of the map, more often than not, especially for the day in search and destroy rounds like that, they do not come out on top of that. So Illini Orange, they just hold sturdy when that map number 5.
Well, you don't have invitational crit on your roster, but still pull away with a victory over Penn State. Penn State, the biggest question coming into this is, if you didn't lose that Mac Marauders round number 1 inside of the winner's bracket in the CCL playoffs, what would you have been able to do going forward? Well, we know the answer now. If they would have faced Illini Orange, a map 5, essentially round 11, at least that's what it felt like with how slow the teams were playing there in that round number 10. But Penn State, a good team all around. If they don't lose the Mac Marauders there, maybe they make a bit more of a deep run. Maybe in the bracket they don't make as short and shallow of a run. They lose to Cecil. But we're going to take a look at our bracket real quick here. And oh my goodness, has it been a rusing throughout the day. Penn State takes down ASU Maroon, then Illini Orange bests them in a best-of-5 series. Now we see them move on to Esports Purdue in losers round 5, which you'll see first up tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, where our coverage will once again begin here for the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational partner, sponsored by Army ROTC. But I mean, my mind is almost chalked right now from how slow and fast that round was at the same time. We've been going on for the greater portion of, 5 hours here throughout some of these matches proper. It's been a long day. It's been a fun day, and I can't wait to see how the climatic finish is tomorrow.
I don't know if we have an opportunity to even just look at the upper bracket, but I'll just tell you, I mean, Ottawa Black versus Carleton Ravens. I mean, that's going to be your winners finals starting tomorrow. I mean, that's going to be a barn burner for one. And where, again, you would think that it would be most of the conversation of 47 and Hawk not being there to help out 47. Bernardo and Thief had a great day. I mean, who would have thought, right? Certainly not me. Maybe not even Bernardo with Team Thief, but Team Thief, much like it's Johnson here, coming in off the bench for Penn State and Carleton Ravens, respectively, having themselves a great day. And this is what you are mostly looking at. You know, Mother's Day is happening tomorrow. Where are those subs going to be at? How we're mostly going to be looking for as we take a look at that winner's bracket to see what all unfolded. We started off, at least between you and me, McCormill. I mean, Carleton looked great again on the day as everything has unfolded from this X-Player team bracket. Ottawa Black, no one was surprised. Undefeated so far up top, getting through Texas State. Illini Orange. Illini Orange, though, throughout the day, big win versus California State, University Long Beach, and again versus Penn State here, keep themselves alive. So much good competition. It is shark-infested waters here in the top 4.
The lower bracket is just cranked up another notch. We basically are at our top 4 right now with our teams. So the winners finals, that'll knock one more a team down to the lower bracket, and they'll have to play the winner of Illini Orange and Purdue, which already in itself is going to be an incredible matchup. As again, we will start our coverage there tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. But I mean, proper one more time, $3,000 on the line for a lot of teams here, but more importantly, Collegiate Call of Duty players, 2 versus 2 gunfight event that'll be going on again. The $3,000 on the line, though, holding that graphic up here in just a second, but a lot of great money to give away there. A lot of opportunity for collegiate players to continue to show themselves throughout not only the college playoffs and the Invitational, but of course in the 2 versus 2 setting. But not just the 2v2 college and collegiate gunfight tournament. No, proper. We have the conclusion in the grand finals tomorrow for what has been a crazy 2 games of the semifinals between all the 4 teams that were playing between, I believe it was Delta and Alpha, who are going to be playing together tomorrow. And, well, if you guys didn't see that beforehand, allow me to reacquaint you with what happened. It was a 6-4 victory for Team Alpha over Team Bravo. And then in a round 11, Team Delta, that's Exy and Sergeant Stud Manny, were able to best Buzz and Staff Sergeant Dexy in a game show 2 versus 2. Proper, if we can kind of remind ourselves of that match, how much fun was Gunfight and how much fun are I Hold Shift and Vision's going to have tomorrow casting that grand final.
Oh, they're gonna have a riot. I can't wait to be able to hear Alan just talking about how good some of these Army individuals are comparatively to how they're just quite literally outpacing some of our CCL players as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's probably going to be most fun as well. I know that personally, Alan's going to be at least keeping their fingers crossed for any sort of just random nuance for a weapon as well. No crossbows, not yet, not that have been seen, at least for us. Maybe Alan might have some better luck.
Well, you love to hope so, folks. As I said beforehand, 1 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, is going to be where we pick our show back up for. But for tonight, that's going to be it for myself in proper cast. Illini Orange, best Penn State, and a game number 5, move on to losers round 5. And it has been a great day of Call of Duty action here inside of our Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. Thanks to Benji on the production back in the background. And a huge shout out to Army ROTC for sponsoring the event here tonight and throughout the entirety of this weekend. Mother's Day tomorrow. Hopefully a lot of these players can get their mamas a Mother's Day W. But we'll just have to wait and see. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Have a great night.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability.